today we want to take a look at how we can write 1 2/5 as a decimal number. Let's first review what 1 2/5 looks like. So the 1 tells me that there's one whole unit. So we're going to go ahead and shade one whole. Another name for this would be 5/5 because I am shading 5 out of 5 pieces. So there's our whole. And now we need to shade in 2/5. 2 out of the 5 pieces in the next unit. Now that we see what 1 2/5 looks like, we need to think, how can we rename this amount as a decimal? We know in order to write a fraction or a mixed number as a decimal, one strategy we can use is to rename the fraction so that it has a denominator of 10, 100, or 1,000. Our decimal places are powers of 10. So I'm going to take a look at how I can rename 1 2/5 as tenths. And here you can see I have my tenths, and I'm going to go ahead and shade my one whole unit, which will equal the one whole unit that I shaded in the previous one. Okay, so now it's one whole, or 10 tenths. And now I want to think, how many of these tenths do I need to shade in order to equal these 2/5? Well, to me it looks like if I shade 4 of these tenths, that will be equal to the 2/5 I shaded over here. Another way I can think about it is I can use multiplication and think, what can I multiply 5 by in order to get a denominator of 10? I know that 5 times 2 equals 10. Whatever I multiply the denominator by, I must multiply the numerator by. So it's really like I'm multiplying by one whole, because 2 over 2 is another name for one whole. I know 2 times 2 is 4. So I could call this amount 1 2/5. And I see that that's the same or equal to this amount, which is 1 4/10. Once I've written my mixed number as 1 4/10, it's easy to write as a decimal because I have a tenths place. All I need to do is write my one whole, my decimal point for my one and the 4 will go in my tenths place. 1 4/10. Now I have my mixed number as a decimal. Let's do one more to make sure that we have it. If I want to write 1 4/5 as a decimal number, I can multiply in order to make an equivalent fraction with 10 in my denominator. Again, I will multiply times 2 over 2, and I see that 1 4/5 is the same as 1 8/10. So I can now write my decimal 1 8/10.